This is Shaped for Law, a podcast series that plugs you into the world of legal technology. Join host David Fazackley, CIO of CTS, as he covers news and trends shaping the legal industry.
Hi, my name is David Fazackley. I'm the CIO at CTS, and this is our podcast series called Shaped for Law. It's an audience with, and today it's an audience with Patrick Hurley, Vice President of Global Speciality Support at Thomson Reuters. Welcome, Patrick. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much for having me, David. I'm pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. So, Patrick, here we are in your offices at Canary Wharf, and it's great to be back because you remember that everyone else won't know, but I used to live here in the Canary Wharf estate, and for the last sort of 10 years, and so we got to see each other a bit, and I was turning my brain to when we last met, and then I remembered that I was your chauffeur.
That you were, yes. Thank you very much. Very gracious of you, although I don't think you finished your job.
Yeah. Well, that was the second thing that occurred to me, that I picked you up and took you to the event. I think it was a Brands Hatch event with your very own Simon Clark racing the Porsche there, doing very well, winning from what I remember, and we're all cheering him on, which was great. Yeah, I took you all the way, obviously, to the event, but then chucked you off at a train station on the way home because I had to go on holiday and I was on the way to Heathrow. So I apologise once again for only doing, not quite a full job, but you I think you were just pleased just to get to the station, and you were very forgiving. So
you get what you pay for in chauffeurs these days.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. That's right. You've never asked me again. But no, it's good to be back here in Canary Wharf. And so before we sort of get into some topics, let's explain your job title, right? Everyone knows what a vice president is. Very important person. Okay, that's great. We know that bit. Global Speciality Support. So just explain that in your role to us a little bit.
Sure. So my team does technical and product support for the Thomson Reuters solutions that require significant amount of product, domain, or technical expertise to support. So, not products that you could hire someone off the street and give them a week of training and they'd be on the phones. But they need to be lawyers or CPAs or developers, varying solutions across Thomson Reuters, including things like 3E and HiQ in the.
So it sounds like quite a broad range of responsibilities, actually.
Very broad.
So let's get into it, and I'm going to mention the dreaded C word, COVID. Okay, yes, let's get in there. I mean COVID, Patrick. What I don't want to do, and I've tried not to do this in the other podcast series, I'm not interested in rehashing the last 2 years. We've all had that. I'm interested in the here and now, but I am interested in what is different at Thomson Reuters as a result of that COVID experiences. What's changed? What is different in your world, or what has happened, as a result of what's gone on with clients and what's had to go on at TR? Describe today and the immediate future as a result of these recent experiences.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, because we don't know. We all know the world has changed a lot in the last couple of years, and is still changing. And what will it be? When we look back on these couple of years, 10 years from now, what long-lasting changes have stuck, will have lasted, and it will be different in some way that we haven't yet predicted. But I think what we've seen absolutely is that the sort of instant everybody worked from home remotely all over the place accelerated people's comfort with the idea of the cloud, of data being anywhere, people working from anywhere, servers being anywhere. The location of your computer, of your database, of you yourself became irrelevant very, very quickly. And that, of course, that technology was around many years before.
And many other industries and sectors had jumped on board or elevated themselves into the cloud a little earlier, but it was an accelerator for lawyers.
Needs must. Everybody had to do it, and suddenly people realized it's actually quite efficient and safe from a security and data privacy perspective, and the the technology is there to support us. So I think the move to the cloud in all manner of solutions and software. I think law firms are much more comfortable now than they were 2 years ago. And
you're right. It's not just infrastructure; it's software, it's solutions, it's the whole gambit. Yeah. You used a word there which I've not heard used before, but I think it is very relevant. You used the word comfort, and I actually think that's spot on. Is that actually lawyers became comfortable with this stuff? They were skeptical, but then they had no choice. Then it was like, oh, it works. Oh, actually, I kind of like the way this works. This is maybe better. It has upsides, and then they got to that point of comfort. And I think once they're at the point of comfort, I don't know if you agree with me, they are now more open to other stuff because maybe their critical or cynical nature on change is a little reduced.
I think you're right. I think just there's more people are more self-sufficient technologically. They've managed their home office themselves with somebody maybe helping them from an IT support perspective from their own home. Yes. Who knows where. They're not as reliant on somebody right outside their door.
They've become more self-reliant.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they've had to, and the tech and other things has allowed them to. Yeah, so that comfort comes there. Okay, let's continue to look ahead. So let's sort of moving forward. I'm very curious. What is I'm a bit of a geek, bit of a Star Trek fan. They call it the Prime Directive. Well, I'm interested in Thomson Reuters' Prime Directive or Prime Strategy, if you like, in this next period of time, sort of in the marketplace. What's TR in this next phase all about? What's your Prime Directive or strategy?
Well, that's quite a question, and of course, my role is not to define Thomson Reuters strategy. Right. But I'll give you two key kind of platforms of all of the stuff that we're working on and are doing, and one, of course, is the cloud.
Right.
Everything is moving that way, and that's across all industries, not just legal. And the other is the concept, I think, of open platforms, right. And the ability to connect with a partner ecosystem, with your clients via APIs and open architecture, that just the systems talking to each other in an open and easy to configure manner. I think that's the way of the future.
I think, that's normally music to a CIO's ears, because what we want is our partners and our solutions to interact, to interface, to talk without the need for heavy coding, without the need for solving a problem of how do you get this over here to talk to that over there, because we want to share that data, we want to share that information. And I would suggest that, and this is just my experience, that over the last 15 years, that's been a challenge for all firms with all partners of all different flavors. So to hear you say that actually one of the important things that you're focusing on at the moment across your various and numerous solutions is an open architecture for that very purpose. And I suppose I'd be right in saying, you've got a lot of stuff in the cabinet. Thomson Reuters has a lot of software solutions, some you've built yourself, some you've acquired, and some, et cetera, et cetera. So I suppose your open architecture amongst yourself is just as important as the open architecture, APIs, and interfaces with everyone else.
Absolutely, yeah. What works for us, we can make work for our customers, and vice versa. So, yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So, Patrick, we've been talking, very, very much about sort of TR focus at the moment. We're going to move the focus a little bit to our client base, and actually not IT people. No disrespect to the IT people listening in. I'm talking about the lawyers, the solicitors, the support staff, the law firms, as our mutual clients actually. What do you think? What's TR's take on what is at the moment most important to lawyers and law firms
Well, I would, if I might expand that, not just to law
Sure.
firms, but to lawyers practicing in government or
Sure,
in the private
in-house
sector,
counsel,
in-house
bits and
counsel.
pieces, yeah. Yeah.
I think lawyers, go to law school and study for years and years because they love to practice law.
Right.
But all of those jobs, whether you work in a law firm or in-house counsel or government, come with a lot of bureaucracy and tasks and administrivia
Yeah.
and systems that they have to log into and passwords they have to remember and clicks to do, time entry or billing or, reserve a conference room, whatever it is, talk to their clients rather than just practice law. So anything that we can do to remove that extra stuff, the boring stuff that comes with any job, anything we can do to reduce the number of clicks, to reduce the number of systems that you have to log into, to make it easier and easier and easier to get the noise out of the way and just practice law. I think.
I'll use the word drudgery.
Well,
Because and it's not trying to be disrespectful to people in roles, but and I've heard you. It's interesting that you're saying you're hearing that and you're focused on that as a supplier. When I've been on the client side, you get it internally from from the staff going,
Sure.
Why does it take me 15 clicks just to do that? I don't understand it, because guess what? It's always the same answers. I always say yes to that. I always click that. I always have to do that because I'm doing this job and it's always the same. But I have to do 14 or 15 things just to get that. And really, I just want to be able to say at the beginning, this is the standard thing, and it just does the 15 things. Why? And the answer is normally either because, well, the way the software is written is it's asking you just at those times to confirm those things, or perhaps even an internal developer has working with risk and compliance. I'm not going to go risk and compliance people internally in law firms. Sometimes you overcomplicate the process. Sometimes you over-engineer it.
Yeah.
For all the right reasons at the beginning. It's always to be safe. It's always to be compliant. It's always to. But what you end up with sometimes is, this is really complicated and getting in the way of what you just said. I just want to practice law.
Yeah.
I'm a lawyer. I want to spend time with the client. I want to spend time researching. I want to spend time thinking. I want to come up with the answers. And I want my solutions just to do what they're meant to do without getting in the way or without my secretary screaming at me all the time, because it takes them all that time to do it. So going back to what you said about, it is about practicing law. So, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. So is it that TR is very aware that that's what all flavour of legal practice wants, and that's important when it comes to solution and software design?
Very much so, and the user experience of our solutions is paramount to that. They have to be intuitive. They have to be easy. They have to be the least amount of clicks, so that the lawyers and other practitioners and other professionals in law firms and corporations and government get to do the things that they're paid to do, not to use your term, drudgery.
Yeah. And there's other reasons I can think of why. Well, there's lots of reasons, but the one big word that's jumping out of my brain right now is you're giving or trying to do things that give lawyers back that most precious of things, time. And time to do more legal stuff, time to spend more time with sort of clients. So how engaged do you get at Thomson Reuters in supporting clients and their clients? And because ultimately that's what we're doing for lawyers, isn't it, is to give them solutions, give them time so that they can spend more time with sort of clients. How is that driven within Thomson Reuters and your sort of thinking and philosophies and things?
Yeah, I think it's a core tenet to our overall legal tech strategy, our legal platform strategy, which includes the IQ acquisition, which is all about a law firm's clients,
right,
and making more of our solutions integrate well with IQ.
And that's that online presence of them, right, isn't it? That connecting to your client online, digitally.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's that digital connection process with your client, which in itself can cut out and should cut out a lot of, the paper and the process and the various bits and pieces by streamlining that interaction. And again, to mention the dreaded COVID word, it was an accelerator that actually pushed more firms into the direction of portals. I've had experience with portals in firms where, before COVID, where we did it because we believed we believed we were forward thinking and we were a bit prescient given what happened with COVID, but that clients will want to interact with us like they interact with lots of other things they do in their lives, with their insurance companies and with their online subscriptions and their online shopping. The clients are well used to online technology. This is not news to them. They're 10 years in. Yep. They begin to wonder why law firms, why it's so hard to work with them. So again, the great accelerator towards that. So would you say that TR is quite focused on that digital online journey with their solutions because of your clients' clients?
I think anything that makes the legal ecosystem more efficient and run better, which includes a law firm's relationship with its clients, that's what we're all about.
Now, Patrick, I've known you quite a while. I've known Thomson Reuters quite a while. I've been a client twice, and I've been on the supply side with different companies twice, but always with Thomson Reuters either as a partner or as a supplier. And it's about 15 years now. I was without break, actually, in various different guises, and so I've seen the evolution of Thomson Reuters over those periods of time. And you've always been here, and I don't want to embarrass you, but how long have you been at Thomson Reuters?
29 years.
Wow. Okay, 29 years. So and you had always seen you around, and that explains it. It's double the amount of time I've had in a relationship. So I was about to say, well, I will say, I've seen a lot change over the 15 years in legal across the whole set, and I've seen Thomson Reuters evolve and grow through that period of time. You've been here almost double that amount of time, so you must have seen an awful lot of change. I just wonder, whether you could highlight for us some of the biggies over those years that in your life at TR, some of the momentous sort of changes, the ones that stand out, and maybe then we'll talk a little bit about what it's like today compared to maybe back then.
Okay. So back in my memory bank, I mean, the biggest, this was going way back, the biggest change shortly after I started, this was actually pre-Thomson Reuters acquisition, when I started with the Elite business, was Windows.
Right. Okay.
Windows was huge. And then, of course, web browsers and having a thin client application.
Yep.
And then, the cloud, we as an industry have been pushing the cloud for 5-ish years now.
Yep.
But as we discussed I think it was the lockdown and COVID that finally
Was the big push.
Was a big push, and now we're just seeing law firm after law firm ready to commit to putting all of their infrastructure and solutions into the cloud, so which is really exciting.
So this period of time, considering there's been many periods where you've seen big seismic sort of change, this and I would also say that this has been the most disruptive and accelerated time of IT change in the business world, as well as people's personal lives and how it affects them in their own life. Yeah. So, you're still here after 29 years, so you've not gone anywhere. So it must still be interesting to you and exciting to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been here as long as you have been.
No, absolutely. I constantly surprise myself with how the constant change and evolution of the market and of the organization. It keeps me interested and challenged, and it does sound a bit trite to say, but I think this is the most exciting time in legal technology right now, largely because of the things that we've been talking about. That the world has changed so much.
Yeah. So
Our environment will change around it.
there's no time to get bored, and certainly right now it is quite exciting because and just touching on a point we've already made, I think it's exciting not just because the tech has changed and has moved and accelerated, but because our client base has changed as well, become comfortable, as you said, and therefore ready to embrace.
It's a virtuous circle.
It's a virtuous circle, and it's an important one because legal has been accused by some of being stuck in the dark ages, but I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think they're avant-garde and sort of pushing beyond other sectors, but they're not also at the back of the queue anymore. They're right in the sort of thick of it, and I think actually ready to be a little braver, a little bit more ambitious, to move ahead a little bit more quickly, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So tee up for that challenge and with your client base and your new clients and your prospects and all the rest of it, because I think we've got a busy period ahead of us.
I agree, 100%.
Yep. Well, Patrick, thanks for meeting with us today. We've had a good chat around a number of subjects. It's always interesting, as you know, I've been speaking to people in the law firms, we're speaking to our partners, because there's always the two perspectives on what's going on. It's interesting to see what aligns and what is different. So far, I've done a number of these. There's a lot of alignment. I think that's probably quite a good thing.
Yep.
And I do appreciate you giving us our time today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
So it's been a pleasure being here with Patrick Hurley, Vice President at Thomson Reuters. This concludes this podcast in our series of Audience With, leaders in the industry. And I'm David Bazzackley, checking out now. Thanks for tuning in to the Shaped for Law podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode and picked up useful insights into the world of legal tech. You can catch more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Whilst you're at it, I would greatly appreciate your support by liking, sharing, and leaving a review of this podcast. Until the next time, this is David Bazzackley signing off.